Alrighty. You want to start it off?
Welcome to episode 1 of Beyond the Barracks podcast. My name is Griffin Stevens.
And
I'm your co-host.
And I'm Charlie Skinner, and we're creating this podcast as an opportunity to highlight some awesome things that veterans are doing post-military, and kind of share some successes and wisdom to pass on to those that are transitioning out, and kind of give them some advice and hopefully make the transition a little bit easier, while at the same time just having a fun place for us to hang out and bullshit. So
Bullshit, drink beer, stuff like that. And then a big thing too is like every podcast is like a Navy SEAL, and they talk about how they like swam to like the moon and back and some crazy shit. And it's like not everyone's like crazy like that. You know what I mean?
yeah, I didn't really do. I never swam to the moon by any means. Had a very average experience in the military, and that's what a lot of our guests will be. Is just a lot of very average in the military. They get out, and they're doing incredible things right now. So I'm excited for our first guest. We got him lined up, and I think he'll have some pretty badass stories for you guys to.
He's a cool dude. I have never met him personally, but Charlie was telling me about him, and his backstory is pretty cool, and what he's doing now is pretty impressive. So
Yeah, and if you guys watch through this whole episode, you like what you see and stuff. Share some friends. You know, everybody in the military knows some people doing some crazy things. So share them up, and we'll highlight some people doing some cool things. But
yeah, we'll touch on the social media at the end. Hopefully by the end of the recording, our Instagram will be unbanned.
Yeah,
it's already banned.
I left Griffin in charge of the Instagram.
That's on me. I put a funny profile picture, and Instagram does have a sense of humor.
We haven't
apparently.
even posted anything yet, dude. And
Literally
we're already banned.
posts. Got banned.
But
So.
I think that's how this podcast is going to go. So.
It's on brand. So,
Alrighty.
all right. Let's see. What do we have? Homie or scrub?
Yeah, so our first segment is Homie or Scrub. Griffin's got this one today.
Yeah.
And the goal of this is he's going to read a story of someone who did something in the military.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say whether or not I would grab a beer with them. If there's someone I would grab a beer with, I'll call them a homie. If not, they're scrubs. So.
Yeah. Yes. So this one is pretty close to home. This has happened the year before I got to Italy. So it's the 173rd. It's Vicenza. It's Caserma Italy. And every 4th of July, they do this event where they let the Italians come on base. And
that just sounds like a bad idea.
Huge
off the bat.
huge security issue. And so, long story short, the base commander is who's this is about, by the way. So I don't remember his name. So what happened was, we have this let the Italians on the base, and we have like a fireworks show. You get to mingle with them and hang out and this and that. Well, the base commander got shithoused and started screaming at the MPs because apparently there weren't enough Italians coming on base. And he was just like, and they were like, no, like, sir, like, we need
Go
to like,
gather them up. Get some more.
literally, he's like,
get them over here.
He's like, sir, we need to like, this is the MPs talking to him, and they're like, we need to like, we have a certain amount of people we're allowed to keep on. This is a huge security risk. So let's like pay mind to that. And basically, he just like, as the kids would say, he crashed out and freaked out.
Dude,
on
that's
the
the
MPs.
second time you fucking said that today. That's the only time I've ever heard that saying. But
all right, whatever. Anyways, let the record state that that's a normal saying.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So he basically freaked out on the MPs. He had a little bit too much to drink, and then he got into an argument with his wife in front of the MPs and screamed at her. And because of all this, he was relieved of duty and was removed as commander of Caserma Italy.
see, I could see this going both ways. This is tough because, like, one, I think it's kind of fucking funny that you got shithouse drunk and did this. Like, two, I kind of see it kind of scrubby because fucking, one, yelling at your wife, like, yeah, whatever. But yelling at the
Depends.
MPs
No,
and
I'm
like
just
trying to do this for public image. I think it comes down to what his motive was, behind it. But yeah, I'm gonna call him a scrub for that.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I will say one thing in his favor: the MPs were notoriously like not respected at Ederly. The women, like we were told, this is like in the brief when you get to Ederly. At least when I was there, they were like, "Don't go by the female MP barracks." And sure enough, like I got lost one night going home, and bro, they're like cats on the porch. They're all out there, like literally, dude. Like, what are you up to? I'm like clearly hammered. I'm like 130 pounds at this time, and they're like, dude, trying to get me to come into the barracks.
dude,
Thanks for
they're
that.
just getting after their own, dude. Nothing wrong with that.
That, and then one of my buddies, we were leaving. Our main method of transportation in Italy was skateboards, and we were going home, and you're not allowed to
That's
skateboard.
so
on
gnarly,
base.
dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes, dude. Shred life. Anyways, we were coming, back from the PX or whatever grocery store, and my buddy is ahead of us, and he skateboards past this MP, and this MP turns around. He's with his wife, and he's like, "Hey, man, you can't skateboard on base." And he's like in civilian clothes, right? And so my buddy just turns around and like, I forget what he called him, but he's like, "I don't give a fuck," and just kept going. And so me and my other buddy were like skateboarding past him. We see this all go down, and all we hear is when we go past him is his wife like going like, "You're gonna let him talk to you like that?"
Oh fuck.
It was brutal. So yeah, my friend ended the marriage. But yeah, they were notoriously not respected.
That's fair. Okay. So, well, some more backstory on this was like, were there more Italians trying to get on base, or was it just no one showed up and he was blaming the blaming the MPs?
No, there was more trying to get on base, and that they were just taking too long to let them get on base.
Okay. See, I was going scrub because I was thinking this was like a higher up going for a PR stunt. Like, where the fuck is everyone?
Yeah.
Why is no one showing up to my event?
Yeah.
But fuck MPs in the same stance.
He
so,
just was trying to have a good time.
yeah. Okay. Fair.
That's also the best time of the year to sneak an Italian girl back to your barracks, because typically between midnight and 6 a.m. you can't have any visitors.
Well, I'm gonna never admit I made a mistake, so I'm gonna stay scrub with him with an asterisk.
Hell yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
alrighty, so
moving on. Next section.
all right, next. Yeah, so just some background on we'll kind of go through how we met, what we did in the military, where we're at now, kind of a little bit about our stories getting out, what that looked like. Hopefully be able to give some wisdom on how that worked out for us or didn't. And yeah, we'll go from there.
You want to start it out?
Yeah, so Griffin and I were both in the 82nd Airborne Division together. So I was never in Italy. Griffin was kind of he had just finished his rotation in Italy and got attached to the 82nd at Fort Bragg to kind of finish out the rest of your contract. And I was a brand new private in Delta Company. And I'd been there maybe 3 to 6 months. And then you showed up one day, and then out of the blue, you came up to me, and you were like, I was a brand new private, and you came up to me. I thought I was going to get my ass kicked for a second. And then you were like, yeah, dude, you want to go surfing? And I was like, fuck yeah. And then that weekend, I think we went up surfing, and since then, we would just go spend weekends together surfing every weekend. And
Good old Holden Beach.
yeah, not much actual surfing was had, but we sure tried.
Yeah,
we gave it our best effort.
Not for lack of effort. Yeah, that's for sure. And I will say, I always thought it was cool. We were the only ones out there with surfboards, but that was just because there was like literally no surfing that was really going on.
Yeah, the waves were like ankle high,
Yeah.
but we were riding them.
If you fell off, you were snapping your spine. You were going scorpion.
Yeah. No, it was a good time, though. And, I mean, like, it was nice, too, because we would just go – you had the old Mazda and I had the Corolla, so two very small cars. And we would try to squeeze our surfboards in through the trunk, and it would, like, feed in all the way through. We put the back seats down, so it's from the trunk all the way up to the dashboard, and the nose.
These are like 7-foot longboards, by the way.
Yeah. And so whoever was in the passenger seat was fucking like squished the whole 2-hour ride.
This far from the airbag.
Yeah, if we wrecked, you're fucking biting every bit of that airbag. But yeah, it was a good time, and then we'd get down to the beach, and you remember the one time we went night surfing?
Yeah.
I think we got off work at like 5 or so, and like we had planned on going to the beach, and it was one of those days where like we're sitting there waiting all day to get released, and it's never coming. And then they finally let us go at 5, and we're like, all right, let's fucking go. We get to the beach. It was like 8 o'clock by the time we fucking like got all our shit in the car, got there, and we pull up to the pier. And for one of the few times, there was like actually good fucking waves. And it was like just getting dark, or just fully dark, I should say. And we were like, all right, fuck it, dude. And we walk on the pier, we're looking at the waves, and we see a little kid fishing. And one of us was like, hey, you catch anything, dude?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, no, but that guy right there just caught a 7-foot shark.
Yeah.
And we're like,
it was a bull shark, wasn't it? Just a shark?
So we're like, oh, fuck. And then I kind of looked at Griffin. I was like, yo, you still want to surf tonight? And then he's like, yeah, why not, dude? Didn't think anything of it. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, dude. We're going.
Yeah.
We throw our boards in, and we've got headlamps, and like not helping at all. No. All the headlamp is highlighted is like 2 feet in front of me in like a circle, and I can't see shit.
And we're trying to stay by the pier, which is like illuminated, which is also where they just like caught a shark.
Yeah,
too. So
it was retarded, but it was a good time. But I swear to God, my leash like hooked up to my ankle.
Yeah.
Every time it would brush my other leg, I was freaking out thinking that was a shark.
Dude, I didn't have a single body piece in the water. I would just kind of like plank on my board and like wait for a wave. I don't think we surfed for very long.
Yeah, no, we were both kind of like, this is sketchy. Yeah. But
someone came down. Didn't someone come down and like say something to us? I remember it as someone.
We were getting chirped from the pier.
Yeah, we were getting chirped for sure.
But yeah, and then we would just sleep in our shitty cars, and
we would literally find like an undeveloped lot and just put our surfboards outside and just recline our car like seats all the way back and just fucking sleep like a vampire.
Yeah, and then we get up and surf all day.
Yeah.
Do this, sleep the same way Saturday night. Wake up Sunday, do the same thing, and then drive back to Fort Bragg.
Yep.
Which, by the way, officially now is Fort Bragg again.
Yes.
They did a quick 180 on that name change. Just changed who it was named after. So.
It's named after a different Bragg?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. They were like, well, I guess we won't go back to naming after a Confederate general.
Yeah.
Here's a PFC from World War II that was also named Bragg.
Yeah.
So they named after him.
He's just some random guy. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. I hope so, dude. I didn't read the full article. I just
sick.
went for the headline.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. Shout out to that dude's family now. That's like, did you even know Grandpa Bragg was private in World War II? Well, he just dedicated a whole base to it.
Yeah. He must have done something. Just not be racist. That's all he did.
Yeah. He was probably the most racist dude in that year, too.
Yeah. He's going to come out. He's like the Epstein of his time.
But yeah, so we met in the Army. We never really worked together other than like you were in a different platoon. We would like work the same stuff, but like, it was always a good time. We hung out most weekends. You introduced me to all your homies from Italy, and it was a good time.
Yeah, we were able to stay friends consistently throughout that time. I was only in for 4 years and joined earlier because I'm a little bit older.
Yeah, and I stayed in for 6.
Yeah.
So I was in for a bit longer, past when Griffin got out.
Yeah, and then I got out. I stayed in the Raleigh area and was going to, like, community college in the Raleigh area. And then, like, right when you got out and moved to the area, I immediately picked up and, like, went to Clemson and did 3 years at Clemson.
Yeah, it was probably,
I left in 2020.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it seriously felt like every time, like right when you moved back to Bragg or back to Raleigh, it was like I just was never around. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
As soon as I got out of the Army, you had moved down to.
Yeah.
So it was, we finally both now live in the same area, but we were able to stay in contact, keep trips going.
Yeah.
Regular annual fly fishing trips.
Yep.
I'm trying to fucking open this can of Zins.
You got to line it up. You're doing the bottom?
Yeah.
You know how many people I'll do that in front of people and they're like, I didn't know that was a thing.
You showed it to me, so.
Oh, okay. See?
It's the trash can under the Zin can.
Can I get another one? Yeah. Which, by the way, Zin, preferably Lucy. No offense, Zin.
Don't sponsor us. I'm trying to quit.
But if you do, I'll get back into the game. Can I have another one?
Yeah,
I quit this morning, and then he showed up with Zin, so I was like, all right, I'm down to do it again.
Well, you told me that you were quitting, and so then halfway through today, I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit too.
Yeah.
And then I got so fucking irritated on a meeting at work that I was like, my blood was boiling, and I was like, I need to fucking, I'm going for 3 milligrams. I'm still quitting.
Yeah. Yeah, we do work together too in a roundabout way. We ended up working at the same company, which is sick. And it is funny that like when you're on, like, because I was on the same meeting, it's like when you're dealing with something fucking retarded at work, you can at least text your buddy and be like, yo, is this a joke? Because we had a meeting today that was just like mind-numbing.
Yeah, it was like something that's already been there, and they just did they called it rebranded, and it wasn't. And we're like,
it'd be like if you're someone important in your company showed you how to like log into your email. Like, by the way, if you didn't know, you have an email address.
Yeah. So
like, okay, thank
you. Good transition. So after the military, so you got out first. You went to you started college, kind of changed a little bit what you wanted to do, and then dive into that a little bit.
Yeah. So I got out. So you guys went to fucking Bosnia or something?
We went to Kosovo.
Yeah.
Kosovo.
Same thing. Months. And just kidding. No, so they went on deployment. I was a short timer, and so I got out, and I went to EMT school getting out because my plan originally was to become a physician's assistant. I got EMT. I was going through paramedic school, and then I was going to do that, get clinical hours, work part-time as a paramedic, become a physician's assistant. About halfway through paramedic school, I just got tired of fucking giving people Narcan. And I was like, and this was in Fayetteville, by the way. So I was like driving from Raleigh to Fayetteville an hour, which probably played a part in it. But long story short, man, I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And one piece of advice I always say, my older brother gave it to me. He said, fail fast. And it's great because a lot of people, when they get out of the military, from what I've seen, is that they have a plan or they don't have a plan. And then if that plan falls apart, or if they don't have a plan in the first place, there's so many options that they just kind of like, they have analysis paralysis and they don't know what to do.
I think that's a good point too, because like analysis paralysis in everything. Dude, if you listen to any financial podcast out there, like 90% of people miss opportunities because of analysis paralysis.
Yes.
And coming out of the military, I think veterans are especially susceptible to it because you're told every single day, hey, this is what you're going to do. This is where you need to be. Not really
making that many decisions.
Yeah, you don't have to. You're just told what you're to do, and then you do it, you execute it, you're done, and then you call it a day.
Yeah.
It may be a long day, but you're at least, you get told what to do and decisions made. When you get out, the world is yours.
Yeah.
And
which is great, but it has drawbacks.
Yeah. And I think people get too bogged down on what you pick right out the gate has to be what you do.
Well, you're looking for that mission. You're looking for that, like, because in the military you have like this, you have this like, okay, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm a infantry paratrooper fucking doing X, Y, Z or whatever. But when you get out, it's like, hate to say it, your life has a little bit depending on how you look at it and what you're doing, your life does have a little bit less meaning and is a little bit less exciting as it was in the military.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're a prime example of like, you can change your mind. Like, not everything. You read a lot online before you're getting out. You're doing research on jobs, on like what life looks like in this kind of career path.
Right.
And, you get out and it may be a totally different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you started out in the medical field.
Yeah.
And then you transitioned. You went to...
I went to Clemson. First I went to community college, which I highly recommend. Pay out of pocket to go to community college if you want to go to school. Save your GI Bill, especially if you want to get like a graduate degree. So I went to like a year and a half of community college. Probably I could have transferred to Clemson earlier. Did not know that. But I just like, dude, when I was in community college, all I did was like work out, go to school, and then work. And then on top, and like a tertiary thing I would do is like, I thought I wanted to be a psychologist or some shit. So I like went to NC State's like psychology department and like talked to the dean of students. I'm real big.
They just
on,
let you walk in and just talk to the dean of students.
I like went on LinkedIn. I've been real big on like figuring out something that's interesting to you. Find someone who's local in your area who knows something about that, and then go talk to that dude. So I went and talked to him, and he was telling me some cool shit. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I want to do this. And then like when I actually got there and talked to him, I was like, okay, maybe not. But long story short, it's that whole idea of fail fast. Like, just have momentum. Stop just worrying about maybe if this is the right or wrong thing. You're gonna have to transition and grow in life. Like anything, any kind of growth in life requires adversity and change. So, long story short, this is just a long story. It's not even short. But anyways, I went to Clemson. I transferred to Clemson. I'm like a finance major. Think I'm gonna do business. And then while I'm at Clemson, I meet a guy, and he's like, you should do construction management. I'm like, okay, fuck yeah. Like, Clemson was like a top 5 program for that.
Yeah.
Do that. That's what I get my degree in. It's sick. Get out of school. Don't get a construction management job. Get an engineering job for a manufacturing construction company. Like they're like the same thing. But anyways, do that engineering job. It was cool. It was like, I'm getting paid more than I deserve. I don't have an engineering background. I'm not really sure how I got this job. And it was like, dude, my boss was sick. The company was sick. But there was just something where I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. And we went to Banff. And this is when, remember that?
Yeah.
We were driving to Banff. I remember we had just landed in Calgary. We had picked up the truck. We were driving to Banff doing the snowboarding trip. And I was kind of bitching about how, like, dude, those were like, that whole Banff trip for me was unpaid, by the way, because like I didn't have enough vacation days.
Oh, so you just took it off?
I just took it off. My boss was chill, so he's like, yeah, whatever. He's like, just, that's your graduation present to yourself. I get it. But I was kind of bitching. I was like, dude, like, man, I don't have vacation days. Like, I'm making good money, but also like to climb the corporate ladder is going to take a while.
Yeah.
And you were kind of telling me, and you'd been telling me for basically the whole time I was in Clemson to work at your company.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I'm a big advocate for sales. I think it just fits my personality well. And I think that's just like getting out of the military. One thing that drove me nuts in the military was no matter how hard you work, you get paid the same as every other specialist, every other private first class, every other private, every other sergeant,
Yeah.
And you could do a hell of a lot more work than someone else and get paid the exact same. So I got out. I had like 6 months where I knew I was getting out. And so I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I had fucked up my back and was getting medically discharged and everything. And I was like, fuck, this is kind of sudden. Like, what am I going to do? I had no plan. And I just sat down and I was like, I need to figure something out.
Yeah.
One, I had some credit cards I needed to pay off. I had my car loan still. And I was like, fuck, dude, if I get out and I want to go back to college, say, I am going to have all these bills and no fucking income to pay it. Mm-hmm. And so I just started Googling, like, fucking jobs with no degree. and somehow stumbled upon real estate. I had bought in a house a couple years before, and I was
you and every bartender.
Yeah, I'm basically a glorified bottle service girl after having enough of that. But Army, bottle service, same type of people. So, but yeah, so I got into real estate, and my last 6 months in the Army, I was selling real estate as a real estate agent while in, and it was easy as fuck because people at the battalion would just come up to me and be like, "Oh, dude, I'm trying to buy a house," and I'd be like, "Oh, dope, let me help you out," and I crushed it, and I was like, "This is sick, dude." Made enough money in those 6 months, pay everything off, have a great fucking savings account getting out of the Army, and I was like, "This is legit." And some of the best realtors I work with now are active duty military doing it on the side.
Yeah.
So if you're still looking for some way to kind of like get some resume building out there, look into it. It's takes a fucking 40-hour class, I think, online.
Yeah.
Take a test, passing, you're good to go. But so I got out, and then I wanted more stability than real estate offers, so I got into the mortgage lending side and just kind of applied, and I got lucky. So I was just getting non-response after applying. And then finally, this military nonprofit mortgage company replied to my application like, "Hey, come on in for an interview." So went in, suited up for it, talked to the guy. And my resume, I was taking classes through Penn State World Campus. And so it was on my resume at the top saying Penn State World Campus 2022 present. And so he's like, "Oh, like you went to Penn State?" And I was like about to be like, "No, like I'm taking classes online." He's like, "Oh, dude, fucking one of our loan officers got his undergrad and his MBA from there." And he just goes off a tangent. He calls the guy into the room, like starts telling me, dude, I'm like sitting there, like trying to butt in to be like, I didn't go to Penn State.
Yeah. What's your favorite bar at State College?
Dude, I was like, I don't fucking know. Like, I barely know their mascot, dude. But yeah, so they offered me the job. I never got a word in saying I didn't go to Penn State. I did try, for the record. But it took about a week before they brought it up again, and I was already like doing well and doing what I was supposed to do, and I was already hired, and the boss was like, "Ah, well, fuck it, dude." Yeah. And yeah, so next thing you know, I'm a mortgage lender, and it hasn't been the easiest route. A lot of lessons learned, especially in sales. Definitely went down some not so smart paths with it. Right. You know, when rates, it was a great time to get into it because rates were like fucking 2.25%. You're just giving people free money. Yeah. And then when rates shot up, it was not the prettiest, and I was going from making $100,000 a year plus to making like $30,000 a year plus, and I was still living like I was making $100,000. Right. And didn't want to admit to myself that I wasn't still there. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't doing the things that I knew I should to bring in business, and it really took a long look in the mirror of like, okay, I got to fucking figure this out. I got to do what it takes, and kind of just have that tenacity to kind of look at where you're at and just make it work. Like, don't rely on anyone else. And that's kind of the trap I got suckered into, was like, okay, I'm going to go do this. And then I worked out this whole deal where we're getting in a bunch of loans and like all this stuff, but it wasn't, I'll probably get into more of it later on, but basically like major lesson learned was, you know, if you really want to be successful in anything, you got to dive deep and just, you know, make it work. If it's something you truly want to do, and I think that's the caveat to fail fast, is fail fast, and once you realize it's not something you want to do, find something that it is. But until you get to that point, give it everything you got.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing. It's like, give it its fair shake. Because it'd be so easy to be like, as soon as stuff gets hard, you're like, man, this ain't for me. But yeah.
But yeah, we made it work. I turned it around, and kind of. It took some wake up calls in my personal life too.
Yeah.
I'll say I was not making the best decisions all around. Kind of took some wake up calls for me to just kind of, for lack of a better term, dude, lock in and just get after it. And that was about the time we went to Banff. Yep. And we were talking about it and stuff. And I don't know. Still don't have it all figured out, but it works well. So I think the more effort you put in and the more results you see, the more you can kind of buy into it too.
Right.
So.
And one thing too I want to point out is like one thing it was kind of a tough pill for me to swallow is that like with the military it's so encompassing of your whole life, of your purpose and what you're doing and who you are. A lot of people make it who they are as a person. When in reality I feel like one thing that a lot of veterans it would be helpful for them to realize is that when you get out, your job can just be something that you do and is a means to provide for yourself and your family.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You can get purpose through other things. Like I like fly fishing, and for me, there's a big conservation aspect of it. It's a way to spend time with my friends. We have 2 trips planned. In the next like 3 months, and then I have another big trip that I'll probably do.
Well, you just went to Patagonia too.
I was just in Argentina, yeah, and like that is like the one thing that like the military has like helped me with is like packing. I pack very well. So I spent 10 days in Argentina, Patagonia, and like stayed at a hostel, solo trip by myself. Went out to Bariloche and was fly fishing and stuff. But the point of me bringing that up though is that like, dude, like you may not be like your job. I mean, dude, we're mortgage lenders now. It's not the sexiest job.
I don't think anyone grew up as a kid and was like I want to be a mortgage lender when I grow up.
But it allows us to do the things that we really enjoy doing.
And I think that's something we've kind of mastered is like our job is being a mortgage lender. Great. But every weekend we're doing something fun. It's kind of a means to an end to support what we want to do.
Exactly.
Every year we go on a dope ski trip, go fly fishing. Yep. Like, we're able to be smart with our finances and kind of, if we need, if we know we're struggling a couple months, we back off of what we're doing for fun. But, I think for anyone getting out, you can get out, change your mind. The one thing the Army sets you up with is your work ethic. Yes. You're going to get out. You can work any civilian job, and you will outwork every single other person.
Dude, if you just do the basics, like I know like it's so cheesy, people say it all the time, but if you just show up on time, in the right uniform, ready to go, you will literally be like a top performer in any job.
Dude, my first week as a loan officer, I was just fresh out the Army, sitting in a cubicle, and like, thank God we don't have cubicles anymore. But I was sitting in a cubicle, and the cubicle next to me, I like get a list of people to call. I start making calls. I'm like, okay, trying to figure this out. And all of a sudden I hear snoring coming from the cubicle. And this dude is just snoring. Like he's sound asleep at his desk, like head back, mouth wide open, just catching flies. And it blew my mind. But then like, who's putting in the work and who's not. Yeah. And it's very easy to tell. And I think when you get out, you can't rely on being a veteran to help you because all you'll get is hey, I really appreciate you. You're an amazing person. You served our country. Right. And people will say that to you in the most cringy ways possible. Yeah. But then that's it. That's all you get. Like there is no fucking, like you're not going to get promoted because you were in the military. Yeah. You're going to get promoted because of your work ethic that the military gives you.
And the discipline and consistency.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's the quote? Fucking, I would rather be average but consistent than or periodic and excellent. Like, I fucking butchered the fuck out of that.
I think it's something like I'd rather be consistently average than periodically excellent or something like that.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, though.
I fucked that up. But, yeah. I think show up. Whatever you decide to do post-military, show up and just give it 110%.
Yeah.
And, like, figure it out. Don't rely on other people to figure it out for you. Take the initiative. Solve your own problems, and you'll be golden. Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, because you hear about veterans killing themselves all the time. It's like 23 people a day or something like that. And it's like, dude, it sucks getting out for sure. You lose that camaraderie. You lose a lot of stuff. But, like, the onus is on you once you get out to, like, you know, to really, you know, go after what you believe in.
Yeah, and call your homies.
Call your homies. Stay in touch with people. You know, make the effort. You get the freedom to do a lot more stuff, but with that freedom, you know, comes a lot of freedom to figure shit out on your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, too, like, no one is – I heard this today on a different podcast I listened to, but they were talking about how no one is self-made. And I thought that was such an interesting thing to talk about. So no one is truly self-made. You always have – people helping you along the way.
Absolutely.
And, dude, like, the amount of times I was able to just call Griffin up when I'm going through it. Like, I got out of the military, quickly got divorced, was on my own, fucking up left and right, but was able to call Griffin, and Griffin would be fucking straight up with me and be like, dude, you're being a fucking retard. Like, or we go on, you know, our trips and stuff, and, like, you know, having people that truly give a fuck, but also will, you know, set you straight.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, it's true though. Like, I look back to every job I've ever had, and every job I've ever had post-military was because I knew someone.
Yeah,
it was literally because I knew someone, and I think that goes in. That's like kind of a good segue to another big thing to talk about too. Is that, like, when I got to Clemson, there was a part of me that kind of wanted to be like. Or when I initially got there, I was like, man, like, I'm so much older. I got there at 25, and I was like, man, I'm so much older than all these students. Like, you know, they haven't had the life and I could have been, like, high on my horse and this and that.
Yeah.
But, dude, I was like, you know what, man, there's shit I can learn from these people. I'm no better than them. I just had a different life path than they did. And I made an effort to not, I mean, it's hard. I have a lot of tattoos, so it's hard to pretend that I'm not a veteran, but, I'd made an effort to be a part of Clemson, be a part of being, like, a civilian again. And I think I see a lot of veterans go wrong with that, where they're just like, they don't fucking understand they didn't understand how hard my FTX was at Fort Benning. Like, you know, we got rained on every day. You know, it's like that kind of shit where it's like, all right, bro, no one gives a fuck, honestly. But you have to, like, the military teaches you how to get into the military and become a part of that. You have to learn how to reintegrate back into society. And if you're just...
I would even go as far to say that the military hinders you in that too, because from everything I've seen and been through, no one that gets out wants to brag about what they've done. Like, no one is proud of what they did in the military, because the second you start talking about, oh, I did this, you know, my deployment to Iraq was sick.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I deployed to Iraq. In your mind, you're like, yeah, I went to Iraq, but, like, someone out there had a way gnarlier deployment than I did. I know people that had way gnarlier deployments than I did. Mm-hmm. And, you know, mine wasn't gnarly at all. Mm-hmm. So, like, you have people, you know, that, like, you don't want to brag on what you've done, and you're not proud of what you've done because, you know, you're taught that shut the fuck up, someone has it worse.
Yeah.
And I think once you get out, you got to be proud of what you did. Like, you know, not very many people serve in the military, and those that do, you know, like, you are set up for success. You just got to put in the work and take advantage of everything you've learned. So.
Yeah. So I think, like, moving forward, though, for this next one, like, this next, like, little segment we have, like, you know, do you want to talk about, like, what's next for you, like, your goals going up, career moves, any big projects or, you know, life changes and stuff like that? You know, because the point of this podcast is to, one, provide like a framework for people to get out and like hear from people who have done it and have been relatively successful, but then also kind of like, not to sound lame, but like inspire people to be like, oh shit, like these guys are, clearly illegally retarded and they're like doing pretty well. So it's like,
yeah, if either of us can,
yeah,
be comfortable living and like
yeah.
not have too many stressors in the life,
Yeah.
like, so our goal is to be as transparent as possible too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We're not going to fucking blow smoke up your ass and tell you we're making $1 million and fucking like on some high horse. We're not. We're very,
right.
We do well for ourselves, but
if there's an opportunity to scam you with like a meme coin, that may be a possibility.
Yeah, we'll fucking rug pull that shit. But need to make ends meet,
Yeah.
But no, so like this is really we're starting this purely just to kind of have an outlet for us. We love hearing ourselves talk and just bullshitting together. So
extremely conceited people here.
Yeah, we thought it would be a good entertainment for everyone.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd record it and put it on the internet.
Yeah, I think our podcast goal is like Joe Rogan level in like 3-4 months. So.
Yeah. So share it with your friends. Get us up there. No, but all seriousness, I think, our goal is just to put out consistent content on this and, just use it as an outlet to connect with other veterans, highlight some people doing some dope stuff. I got my buddy Andrew Keaveney coming on an episode. He's dope. He's trying to be the youngest person to hike the 7 highest summits and sail the 7 seas.
Yeah.
So he's living on a sailboat. He's a fucking incredible dude. So he's going to be coming on and, that's kind of our goal is to highlight those doing gangster stuff outside the military and like,
And other people too who have gotten out and maybe they're not doing something super gangster like that and like they're just like they're getting out and they're like doing well. They're just doing well, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like my buddy Matt Morris, he was a nuke in the Navy. I don't know how the fuck he did that. He was on a submarine, and he got out and he translated that career into becoming a mechanical engineer, and he's fucking killing it right now. He was a buddy I went to Clemson with. Our friend Justin, he was he might just come on for funny stories, but he was he was a Cav scout in the Army and then got out, and now he's a firefighter. And
and I think the whole goal of this is to give, perspective to those getting out and create a community here, right?
Yeah.
Like Griffin alluded to earlier is that every job you've gotten post-military is because of someone you know.
Exactly.
Let's create a network of people that are all doing interesting things. And, I know everybody that we've got scheduled to come on thus far would take 5 minutes out of their day to answer some questions if someone needs it.
100%, dude.
And I think that's what we're trying to build here is just kind of a network of people doing whatever it may be across,
right?
And
stuff too. Like we're both mortgage lenders. Our company it's a military nonprofit specialized in VA loans, and like Brian, perfect example of a guy who uses his zero money down VA loan to buy rental properties. That dude's set up.
Yeah, we've got some finance bros, post-military finance bros scheduled to.
Yago, he's a fucking Wall Street dude. Like he, I thought he was, he was dumb as shit, but now he's, went to Columbia.
Yeah.
Now he's a Wall Street guy.
Yeah. So we've been pretty blessed to stay in contact with a lot of buddies and stuff, and so we want to bring that out and create a resource for people to kind of get connected. If you've just gotten out of the military, if you've been out for 10 years and you're looking to change career paths or whatever it may be, this is just kind of a place to hang out, meet some like-minded people. And, we really want as much involvement from everybody as we can. So.
Yeah. And just, tell stories about us eating shit and just see that you're not the only one that, gets out and fucks up and does something stupid.
Yeah. So no, absolutely.
But all right, moving on, dude. Let's see. Our final segment is the conspiracy corner. So this is all you.
Yeah. So we're gonna end each episode with one of us trying to sell the other person on a conspiracy theory. Yeah. So make it kind of lighthearted at the end here. I've got a great one for you today. So, what do I got to tell you to convince you that the moon is not actually just a satellite orbiting the Earth?
I didn't know it was a satellite.
Well, it's a rock like orbiting around as a satellite. So,
not much.
So, yeah. So
I honestly should just be doing conspiracy.
Yeah. I'm probably the most critical of conspiracy theories. Griffin's pretty easy to. If you follow us on Twitter, what's our @ for that, by the way?
At Beyond Barracks, and hopefully we'll have an Instagram back.
Yeah, but at Beyond Barracks on Twitter, you'll just find Griffin sharing conspiracy theories. So, anyways, I'm gonna convince you. Anyways, so the moon itself, when the Apollo missions crashed a lunar lander onto the moon,
right?
They recorded ringing for hours after. And that has caused some to speculate that it may not just be a rock. Like, it may be hollow on the inside.
Hollow.
So it's like metal ringing. And then the other thing is the craters, right?
Yeah.
So the craters on them, none of them look super deep, right? They all look pretty shallow, as if they're meant to be there. Like, no matter the impact size, they're all about the same depth.
Right.
And then lastly, what are the odds that it just happens to be the perfect size and at the perfect distance to cause the perfect level for solar eclipses, or lunar eclipses, I should say?
Man, I'm too dumb to understand that in the first place, but
yeah. So this all comes from multiple ancient cultures, from the Zulu in Africa to the Greeks, have legends about a time before the moon existed, suggesting it might have been placed there at some point in history.
Yeah.
And so the theory goes that the moon could be an observation station or even a control center for monitoring Earth, left by an advanced species eons ago.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't realize that motherfucker didn't rotate. We just see one side of the moon this whole time. And most of my knowledge of the moon comes from Transformers, because they talk about dark side of the moon. So I didn't realize that, one, it didn't rotate, and that there's a dark side of the moon. Sounds a little racial in my opinion, but whatever. Anyways, yeah, I could see the moon doesn't, where it's like perfect. It's like everything about our planet is so perfect. It's crazy. Like, it's perfectly sized to have some enact forces of, whatever the fuck on titles in the moon or fucking oceans. I'm really scrambling here. but no, yeah, I could see that. I heard another conspiracy or something about how Buzz Aldrin was saying he saw some weird shit when he was up there.
We might need to dive back into that.
We need to look into the moon.
Dude, I've been into the moon lately. And that's part of the reason I picked that one. It was like the second one that came up.
Into the moon, into the moon is like you're a Virgo or a Cancer or something like that. Like,
no, dude, I'm in because a lot of private companies are sending landers to the moon right now.
You have a vested interest in the moon.
Not anymore, dude. I lost my fucking ass on intuitive machines.
So what happened to the intuitive machines?
Dude, they fucking, all right, I'm not gonna bash them. You know what? Fuck it, I am gonna bash them, dude. They fucking sent up their second lunar lander. Their first one snapped the leg, tipped over. This one, dude, they land and take fucking forever. The stock plummets, and I'm just like, fuck.
Did they land on the moon yet?
Yeah, they landed sideways again, though, and their stock just fucking tanked, dude.
So it's like their leg problem that keeps breaking, or what? What's the issue?
They didn't really say what caused it this time. They kind of just the day after they landed, just kind of cut it there. They uploaded a picture of it on its side, which is the most hysterical fucking photo you could post. They're we had a successful landing, and then posted a picture of their the side of their lander and then the Earth in the distance.
Bro,
and
they should have leaned into it. They should have been like, yo, there's fucking wind up here, dude.
We discovered wind on the moon. You're an idiot if you don't believe us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
How
no.
funny would it be if they took a picture, like turned the camera around, took a picture of the Earth, and it was like not even flat. It's like a cube. It's like, oh fuck, just an Xbox.
NASA comes in, like Secret Service comes in, fucking like black suits,
yeah.
just
Executes all of them. Yeah.
photoshops the pictures to make it a sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well,
I think that's it for this first one.
yeah, I think that was good. And yeah, going forward, we'll have some episodes just us hanging out,
Yeah.
talking about whatever is going on at the time, and then other episodes we'll be highlighting some people doing some dope stuff. So
Yeah, and let us know, like, once we get our social media, back and stuff, hopefully,
Unbanned.
fingers crossed. Just like reply and see what you guys want to hear from us, see what you want to talk about, like different topics, like getting into colleges, because there's so much stuff, man, of like for instance, I know a guy who got out and used his GI Bill to go to South America. I think it was in Patagonia to become a ski instructor.
that's sick.
Another guy went to Montana to become a fly fishing guide. Like, there's so many options when you get out, and it's just like, dude, even if you don't end up doing that, like, take advantage of that shit, dude. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many cool things for you to do.
Yeah. And reach out. Let us know what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Share this with some friends.
Guests
too.
you want to try and get on?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're trying to get JD Vance.
Yeah, that's our long shot goal. We'll cover goal setting in another episode.
Yeah,
but
and that's a big thing. We're trying to get like non-special operation. Nothing against special operations, but like that's kind of been played out, dude. Like there's way more people who weren't special operations that have gone on to do cool stuff.
Yeah,
That's kind of what we're trying to highlight.
Yeah, and so yeah, share this with some friends too. If nothing else, use it as a good excuse to call those homies, check in, see where they're at, and share our podcast with them. Help us out, and let's create a big community of people, of veterans that help each other get out and get into those, wherever people want to be, and help each other be successful. So.
Exactly.
Alrighty, well, I got to piss, and
I got to piss too.
This was a great episode 1.
All right, peace.